I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded today. Also pay respects to the elders past and present, and extend that respect to any other Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who may be listening today. This is Melanated in Melbourne, a podcast designed to give an insightful look into the Australian lifestyle from the lens of two Black American besties. Welcome back, Melanation. I'm Ri'chard.
And I'm Nicole.
And I'm Ali.
And this is Melanated in Melbourne.
Melanated in Melbourne. I had to sing it quickly because we said we didn't want to sound.
We didn't even want this. So it's going to be very hard to manage the sound. Well, we'll leave it in there anyway.
That's what she said.
Well.
Or him. Actually, you know what? She could say it too. We're inclusive over here.
Everybody loves to get laid.
Yes.
Everybody loves to get laid. Isn't that right, Ali?
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I don't know what you're about.
Oh, Lord.
Speaking
Lord.
of, as we mentioned in our last episode, Ali is my housemate who is joining the podcast for the first time ever. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
Yay!
Oh, they love you.
They love you.
They don't do that for everybody.
They don't?
Oh, really?
They really just they're really into you, and I think it's weird, but I love it.
I'm
I
actually
support it.
blushing already. This is crazy.
But welcome to the show. Have you been on a podcast or anything like this before?
No, not quite. But when I was like 11, I did like a radio show with my school. So basically,
Oh,
so basically,
I'm a veteran,
Oh
my
and
God.
I'm gonna be teaching you how to do it. Actually, let's just
Okay, we love that. So if you're going to be teaching us how to do it, we may want to get your mic to be facing you.
Oh!
As you're talking,
Give me
give me some tips about more things.
Excuse me.
Because when you're talking, if you turn your head like this, your volume kind of turns away. So
I'm sorry, I don't understand your accent.
It's fine.
Oh.
So this is what our house is like. By the way, this is literally what our house is like every single day, and I love it. But before we get into our nitty-gritty of things, Nicole, do you think you're a good friend?
I do believe I'm a good friend. Yes, absolutely. 100%.
On season 1, I asked Nicole the same question, and she had done me dirty with Black Francis when I had fallen and recorded multiple sounds. But it's really funny because I've never felt betrayed like that until yesterday. No, 2 days ago.
Okay.
When I'd asked Nicole, I was in the middle of a date. You know the date with Jimbe. I was in the middle of a date. We were talking about music, and Honey Dijon came up. And I was like, oh, my God, the pre-sale's coming. I need to call Nicole because we talked about this. We were very excited. I called Nicole in the middle of a date. I was like, I'm so sorry. I got to call my bestie. I called Nicole, and she said, babe, I already got my ticket. What do you mean?
Okay, yes, I had already gotten my ticket. I apologize that I did not communicate to you that I was getting my ticket. Because I saw Honey Dijon's, I saw her face pop up. I saw the email notification. I was like, I got to get my ticket now during the presale. And then I got mine.
Yep.
But
and then there was no text. We had a full conversation. We had a full conversation about going together. And I told you about it. Like, oh, my God. And I tagged you. I posted on the story. Internet, I posted, tag Nicole publicly to be like, let's go. And she's like, oh, my God, oh, my God. She was so excited. But I got forgotten. I was left there to die once again.
But I was sick at the time. So
really?
I was really... Yes, Ali,
I haven't said anything. I haven't said anything yet.
That really was doing a lot of heavy lifting.
No, it's okay.
I was sick. It was a moment of weakness. Obviously, the virus had fried my brain.
Yes.
And just
when
it made
you're
me
sick,
selfish.
it's just like tunnel vision. Yeah, I love that. For your context, we did an old people party about a few years back, and I slipped as an old man. And instead of helping me up, Nicole took a bunch of pictures.
I sure did. It
What
was
do you
so
mean you
funny.
slipped or something? Like you fell over?
Yeah, I fell over
On the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk. I bought these shoes from Op Shop, and they were like slick. There was no grip whatsoever. We were dancing on the way to get some ping pong balls, I think. And it was Have Mercy by Chloe. We were dancing to Have Mercy, and then my and see, she's still not over it. I
really wanted the incident to pop.
Yeah, I was just about to say we need some sort of visual right now.
I'll figure out how to do some visuals. I have the picture of me splaining out on the floor with Rock's hand helping me. Our friend Rock tried to help me, but Nicole was taking pictures, doing selfies with me on the ground. I'm literally bleeding out through my old man pants, and she just takes every chance to bring it up. So Hattie the Harlot is still enemy number 1 in my book. Black Francis remembers.
Oh my God, but is that not the sign of a good friend? Is that not the sign? Internet, you hear me.
And all right, we'll put a poll up as well.
Yes.
I just wanted to get that out because I was sitting on that one. I was like, I was in the middle of a date. Like I could have ruined my chances. He could have been like, this is so fun, but he had to go to call his best friend in the middle. So we're just like not going to do that. But yeah, I forgive you in time
Thanks.
or whatever because we have K-Tronada tonight. So
Yes.
You've been holding on to that one, haven't you?
it was 2 days ago. It was 2 days ago.
It was.
It happened 2 days ago.
I mean, it was fair. I should have thought. I just looked at my bank account and I was just like, you know what? The one ticket.
A text was like, hey,
The
babe, I
one
got my
ticket.
ticket. Anyway,
No,
Ali.
fair.
We, in our last episode, we hyped you up, basically talked about how great you are, how funny
Yes.
you are, and how we're going to have you on the show just for, if nothing else, a lot of lively energy, and you're more youthful than the rest of us. We're not going to say any specific numbers because we don't need to do that. But you are younger, you are fresher, and you've been in the country for a shorter amount of time than us. So we wanted to get your input, how you felt Australia's been for you. But before you do that, tell us some about yourself, like who you're from, who you're from,
Who you from?
who you from,
Who you from? What hood you from? Sorry.
Yeah, so give your origin story, and then we'll kind of go from there.
It's crazy. I feel like I'm on a first date right now.
Oh my
like,
god, love it.
Yeah,
where do I start?
Okay, at the beginning.
I mean,
At the
that
beginning.
helps.
you could do birth.
So when a man and a woman love each other very much.
Go
Oh my
on.
God.
No kids
Oh my
allowed. So
God.
carry on.
Oh,
Say,
really?
say what you, this is not a kids program. We said no children.
Yes.
We haven't said no children yet. No,
No
children.
kids.
Reminder. No,
No
children.
kids.
Fuck the kids.
Oh my god. Our YouTube monetization.
So I was born in London, raised in a place called High Wycombe. It's like a
Mm.
really little shitty town just outside London.
I heard James Corden's from
Yeah,
there.
James
That's
Corden is from there. It's
Now you must say
crazy.
James Corbett.
Oh yeah. So it's like it's given bad vibes.
Bad vibes.
Like it is bad. It's kind of like
Wait, the town or James Corden?
both.
Oh,
Why
damn,
not? Do you know what I
okay.
mean? Like both. It's probably where he gets it from.
Mm.
But it's kind of given like it's not quite a small town where you're getting the benefits of being a small town gal. Do
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, but it's also like not big enough to be getting like city benefits.
Okay.
So you've kind of got the shit parts of each.
All
So
right.
she's the medium place.
right in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the neutral place. Okay.
And then so I was there till I was 18. Went to uni in Bristol. Stayed in Bristol for a while afterwards. Then I moved here
Ooh.
on a whim.
On a whim.
Kind of like on a whim. I don't know. It's a weird story. It's a weird story.
Go on.
Well, we have time.
Yeah, this is basically your origin story episode.
Oh,
so you
this
can
is
give us as much or
crazy.
as little as you want to.
So I had a boyfriend when I was like 19.
Ew.
Homosexuality.
Which is magical. We support the gays over here.
Somebody
sorry
might think
for
that's like,
yelling.
you just call him a fairy.
That felt homophobic,
That
actually.
is not what I was doing.
You just called me a
Cancelled.
pufta. That's crazy.
You guys,
I also heard it.
that is not what happened. The camera.
This is Honey Dijon.
I'm an ally. Sorry, continue with your story. Boyfriend, 19,
So I
moved
had-
here on a whim.
Yeah, so then my boyfriend was studying in Bristol, and then he moved to Sydney for a year to study in Sydney.
Cool.
So we're doing this like long distance relationship, and it's kind of like, you know, when you're 19 and everything's so
Yes.
tumultuous and
Yes.
like every feeling is like a million times amplified.
Of course.
And then we did long distance, and then I came to visit him for a few months in Sydney, and I literally got here and I was like, I fucking hate this place. I was like, this place, it was like, because I feel like you're sold a lie. Whatever you think you're getting with Australia, you're not getting that. Like, you think like it's going to be so chill. You're going to be chilling all the time.
Yeah.
You're going to be drinking beer by the beach, and everyone doesn't give a fuck, and it's so da-da.
Yeah.
But it's not. They give so many fucks about weird stuff.
They
They
do
follow
give-
the book to
they
the
do.
T. It's crazy.
Yeah, they do give.
I've
lots of
never
fucks.
seen that.
I
I
agree.
This would be the last country to like have a revolution. Like, I feel like the government could get away with anything. I feel like honestly they could do anything, and people would be like, as long as you got your beer,
Yep.
you got your footy,
Yeah.
and you got the sun. Like
Boom.
Yeah.
Satisfied.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
100. Like.
Sunlight, bitch.
Anyway, so yeah, I came here and I was like, oh fuck, like this is shit. But I was also having like problems in my personal life and with my boyfriend at the time. So I was like, oh, like I fucking hate this. I then ended up like breaking with my boyfriend, flying back to the UK,
Real.
and then I was just like, finishing uni and figuring out my life and like da 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 da. And then I was working in a gentrified Caribbean restaurant for
oh
white
my god,
people.
Tommy Bahamas. No, I don't know. Bahama Breeze.
Bahama Bucks.
Was
Yep.
it?
But I was working there for like ages. I'd worked there all through uni, and I was still working there after I finished. I literally graduated, and I was still serving like this dusty jerk chicken that looked like my granddad's sandal. Like
Oh, no!
literally, like
Did you have to wear a Hawaiian shirt?
Nah, to be fair, I'm gonna be
A
real.
coconut bra?
The t-shirts were nice. Like the visuals, they had really
okay.
good. The marketing team, they did well,
Yeah.
Oh.
but the food team didn't do too well.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a
So the
shame.
aesthetics were right, but the food was just.
Yeah, kind of. And it was the whole point was like this boozy cocktail bar. Anyway, weird vibes. Then I was like, fuck, what am I doing? To be fair, I was only 21, so like it's not that deep. Like,
Yeah. It never is. I mean, at the moment it may feel that way, but as you get older, like no.
it's like, yeah, it's not that deep.
I think it is having that self-awareness and being like, what am I doing right now with my life? Like, it's good to have those check-ins to be like, you know what? This isn't fulfilling me. This isn't fulfilling me. Bounce.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. And I feel like I've always thought, I feel like that bit where you've like finished studying or school or whatever before you get into the quote unquote professional world, that's the scary part because it's kind of like you're mourning a whole period of your life where you're like, not mourning, but you had this where everything was kind of set up for you. You kind of knew what you're doing. And now it's like, oh, I'm a free bird.
Yeah.
Like you can do it, but that freedom is so overwhelming. It's like, what the fuck?
I can do anything, and then you're just like, you
Frozen
get an
with
option.
paralysis.
Yes.
Decision paralysis. Yeah. You just have too many things you can do, and it's like I'm gonna do this one thing. Just
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
Yeah. Option overwhelm. You're just like, yeah. How do you even know which way to go?
How do you like? What do you do? Do you know what I mean? Everything's
Yeah.
been, you don't. Everything had been set up for you up until that point. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? You knew I was gonna go to school. When you're in year 7, you know you're gonna finish year 7 and go to year 8, and then you
Yeah.
know you're gonna finish year 8 and go. It's
We know.
easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been there. Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing next year. No one knows what the fuck. Year on year, we're like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
Like we got ideas, but like life doesn't work out like that.
Sure
do you know
doesn't.
what I mean?
Sure
Yeah.
doesn't.
Anyway, so then I finished uni. I was working in this Caribbean restaurant, and I was literally like, my rent had run out, and I didn't want to renew a lease because I didn't really know what I was doing, and I just like literally stayed in like friends' houses. Just like one friend gave me her room for the summer because she was away, which was
Nice.
amazing.
I love that.
So
Perfect.
big up
Community.
Maddie.
Community.
Big up, Maddie.
Booyaka. And then I stayed.
Take your time. This happens all. You get used to it, but also not. Like.
And then I shared a room with my friend for 2-3 months before I came here. We were literally sleeping in the same bed, like,
Aw.
and we'd done that before in lockdown, so it was easy. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I was
Yeah.
working full time, sharing a room. I'm sure she was a little bit sick of me in her space, but it was good vibes. Like the vibes are good. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. And I don't want to move back home to High Wycombe
Yeah.
because that would be dry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to take a step
Yeah,
back.
Don't
Do you
go
know what I
backwards.
mean?
Yeah.
And it was like, I know I'd be so depressed if I went there. So then I was like, fuck that. I don't have the money to London prices.
Yeah, London's
London
It
prices.
sounds so exy. Every story
Like,
I've heard.
That's crazy. On the money that we're making in the UK
Yeah,
Mm.
it's not sustainable.
as a psychology graduate, that's
Oh.
crazy.
Yeah.
Jane, the
Yeah.
psychology really tops it off. It's like, whoa, you
Yeah.
really had no idea what you do with your
Oh,
life.
no. Yeah.
I mean, I can relate. I did sociology, so I had to get a master's degree because you can't do shit with either of those.
Yeah,
It's
you
like-
can't. You literally can't. So it was like, and if you do, you're getting paid like what, £10 an hour, £11 an hour.
Ugh.
Junior doctors are getting paid like what, £12 an hour in the
Ugh.
UK. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Wild.
That's nuts.
So I was like, oh, don't want to go to London. Don't want to move to Manchester because why would I just uproot my life and move to a new city on the other side of the country
yeah.
with no prospects there? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You may as well stay at home. Like if you're gonna go if you're gonna move, there may be a reason or like something new or something exciting. Like you just
Yeah.
No, I
But like,
get it.
why would I move to the city next door, kind of? But also
Yeah.
like,
You're really looking for a change.
yeah,
You're like, if I'm gonna risk it, big risk.
yeah, from risking it all.
100. I used to make all my decisions by flipping a coin or spinning a spinner. Do you know what I mean?
Real,
So I went on
real.
spinthewheel.com or some shit, and I was like, oh, maybe I can move to Spain. Some guy had offered me a job in Spain to work for his Airbnb company. So I was like, oh my God, maybe I could
Okay.
do that. But he was a bit of a fucking creep anyway. He was like, do you want to go to the nude beach with me behind the airport? And I was like, no, I don't.
No.
There was that. I was like, oh, I could go to the Caribbean. That would be so fun. In the sun, the food, the vibes, like, everything would be so good. I could go back to Australia
Yep.
Mhm.
because I was like, maybe I just hated it because my ex was a bit of a waste man. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Maybe it was just what's happening in my life. And then it was like, oh, Berlin. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Education's free.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity there. And I just like spun the spinner 4 times, and each time it was Australia. I was
Wow.
like, bitch, I guess we're going to Australia
Damn.
then. Do you know what I
Damn,
mean?
4 times. That is, yeah.
That's a sign. Like
Yeah,
as the
yeah.
bitch who thinks everything's a sign, that's a sign. Like if you were to
That's
like
real.
take the first one, like actually I don't want that. I think when you flip a coin and whatever you're hoping for as it flips, like that's how I decide.
Yeah. And I was so neutral to all of them that I was like, Guess we're doing this then.
Yeah.
But I really thought it was going to be like a 3 months, 6 months. I literally got on the plane, one-way ticket, and I was like, oh, we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
And then I was living with my uncle, my auntie up in Sydney. But I was like, bro, this place is shit. I was like, when I arrived, I actually was pissed off because I was like, wow, it's really beautiful. And after the first week of it being beautiful wears off, it's like,
what's next?
What
What's
else
left?
is there to talk about?
What else do you have? Yeah.
like, what else do you have? And it was like, I couldn't find a job. I felt like if you weren't white, skinny, or rich, at least one of the three, you may as well just kill yourself. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it was weird. It was just
like
weird.
to fit in and to like integrate into the scene there, I suppose.
So again, to integrate, you need to like.
Like to have one of those things that you had listed, it would probably be easier to like integrate into the scene there. But when you feel
like an outsider,
and other,
it was really weird. And it was like, if you weren't in your Lululemons and you're like, do you know what I mean? Do you know, it's true. It's so true.
I mean, look, when you lie, I'll stop you. But
it's like a crazy, like, I don't know. The vibe was weird.
So you didn't hate Australia. You just did not like. Yeah, you did not like Sydney.
But I feel like from an outsider's point of view, Sydney, it's a world city. Do you know what I mean?
It's
everywhere. It's like if you went to the UK, you're going to go to London. Why the hell would you go to anywhere else?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Sydney's the face, for sure. She's the face of Australia.
And I feel like if you do go to London, but you don't get to know everything about the UK, but you get a very good idea of what the rest of the UK is like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with Sydney. I thought you'd get a very good idea of what the rest of Australia is like.
Yep.
I was there. I couldn't hold down a job, but like literally, the jobs hated me. I got fired from an ice cream shop.
Oh no!
An ice cream shop.
Oh no!
Nah,
were you
fuck
stealing
that place.
Were you stealing ice cream?
They were like, "You're too chill," and I was like, "It's a fucking ice cream shop."
The product is chilled. Like, what do you mean?
It's a fucking ice cream shop. I was so pissed.
If there was a secret racism sound button on there, I'd be
That's
smashing
racist.
It. That's racist. Like, because I don't know. I'm assuming that it's going to be that because how do you be too chill in an ice cream shop?
But then I was
Australia?
like, this is my income. If they want me to tighten up, I'll tighten up. Do you know what I mean? And then I tightened up. Next week I get pulled into another meeting. You're being too rude. And I was like, of course I'm gonna look rude if I was having jokes and now I'm not even allowed to have a joke anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like comparatively, I'm gonna look like a cunt.
Yeah. What? That doesn't even.
The line keeps moving.
So first of all, I got demoted and then I got fired. And then I was like, all right, cool.
Okay.
Wait, from what to what? I need to know. What were you? What?
Come back. Demoted. Fired. You get demoted.
From a scooper to a mascot. Like what is
it? Go out there and spin the sign.
Nah. I was a supervisor.
Okay.
And then I got demoted to scooper. And when she said scooper, again, there's no shame in all jobs. Like all jobs are valid.
And they pay well. And
they pay really well. Even a scooper got paid so much for this place as well. It's more than I've ever earned in the UK just to scoop ice cream.
Yeah.
But I was just like, a fucking scoop, Rosa, a fucking scooper. Are you joking? We both know that's ridiculous.
Yeah. They were just trying to save some money on a salary.
Nah, but that's crazy. Anyway,
it's nuts because looking at the Australian work ethic here, I would be fuming.
Yeah.
I'd be fuming.
Like, what do you mean I got demoted? I'm America, lazy, Australia, productive. Like my laziest work here, they think it's walking on water. I don't understand. So being demoted and then fired is that's crazy work.
Yeah, I would be so heated. I'd be so mad.
But then I couldn't find another job, and then I got a job in like some fine dining restaurant. And you guys know me, fine dining is like the last thing that I could be working at, because like, what do you mean you're having a bitch fit because you got the wrong knife and there's 5 sets of knives on your tables? Like, grow up. Like, grow up as a grown man. Yeah. You're crying because you've got the wrong size knife.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Men used to go to war. And you're sat here having a bitch fit over not having a dessert spoon. What the fuck even is a dessert spoon? Like,
yeah, that would be and that's why it's like when people say like Australians are so chill or like so laid back, I'm like, you will see these people lose their mind over the smallest things. Smallest things.
Like, why are you asking me what wine is dry? I don't even know what a dry wine is. They're all wet. They are literally all wet. What do you mean?
I would have paid money to see you work in a fine.
Nah, because obviously I had to be like, let me go ask my manager. Do you know what I mean? Because I had no idea. I wasn't trying. Yeah. They were only paying me $25 an hour.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's nothing. And each meal was at least like $150. Like, there was no way. Anyway.
Yeah, but that would be.
So
oh
I was
my gosh.
doing that, trying to earn some money. I was applying to all these jobs. Literally no one getting back to me. I was like, okay, maybe like I'm just the problem. Do you know what I mean? And then I messaged a gay club in Sydney over Mardi Gras on Instagram just to be like, hey, do you need any extra hands this weekend? And they were like, yeah.
That was so smart. Man, those are some good
this
instincts.
is actually top trick, secret trick. Every time I've been like bad for cash, it doesn't matter what city you're in, message the gay club on Instagram.
Yeah.
Just message the gay club on Instagram,
This is the
and they're
the gay club
always
kids.
gonna say yes. I feel like I've only had it once in Brighton when they were like, sorry, can't do that, but they're always gonna say yes.
Oh my god, that's
Like,
so smart.
especially during the big events. Like right now it's midsummer. Like any place that's like we're dying, we need all hands on deck. There's only so many rock stars you can get. Like actually, yeah. Thank you for showing up at my door. You angel.
Yeah,
So
100. Because it's
smart.
easy for them as well, because they don't need to like
Yeah.
go out their way. So I messaged them, and then I worked there for literally just like a weekend.
And how was it?
It's a club.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
a club. Like working at a club is a club. Do you know what I mean?
That hesitation said everything.
It can
Like,
never be too bad.
Yeah.
But the vibe was good.
Yeah.
As far as clubs were concerned, I was like surprised that like a lot of the time the work culture in clubs can feel a bit
Intense.
weird, intense.
Yeah.
Also because I feel like it's very impersonal. Because
mm.
people go in for their shifts at like 10 p.m. and it's
Yeah.
loud and you can't really talk to your coworkers and there's this whole weird energy going around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like a nice vibe, and they were like, "Do you want to come back?" And at this point, I'm fed up with this city. I was like, I'm so fed up
three
with this
jobs
city.
in.
I have seen enough.
Yeah.
I've seen enough.
What was that timeline like for those 3 jobs? Like how many months has that been? How much? How much?
I
time
arrived in
passed?
November and I left in March.
Okay.
So it
Three,
was like
3 jobs in 4 months.
no, there was more jobs as well, and there was even a little romance in there.
Yeah.
Tis the season.
Yeah.
It's summer.
It's
Do you know what
summertime.
I mean?
Yeah. So
Um,
you were done.
but I
Done
was
with
like,
Sydney.
and then I just came off my antidepressants in March.
Oh, okay.
And that's also when I kind of got fired from thing because they were like, "Why are you so moody?" And I was like, "I told you I was going to be a little bit
Yeah.
moody because I'm coming off my meds."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have told you that unless I really felt like I needed to tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Don't tell me stuff about your personal life." I was like, "You."
Yeah.
What? Okay. Again,
Mm.
I would have lost it.
Anyway, I was coming off my meds, and that's when everything started to hit me. I was like,
Yeah.
"Let me get out of this place."
Yeah.
Like,
Mm.
it feel like it's not going anywhere. Any friends I'm making, I'm like, bro,
They're surface level.
they're
Like,
surface level. Other than maybe 1 or 2 people,
Yeah.
everyone I've met there was like, "Whoa, you guys really have nothing going on in there." It's so now I'm gonna speak my truth. Other than my family as well, big up my family. But like I felt like 95% of people I met there, I was like, "Whoa, you guys really have no critical thing." I don't know,
Yeah.
because it's all about just like living a life that's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the aesthetic, it's the lifestyle, and like I do have some friends that are accepting to the rule as well in Sydney, but it's very much when every time I'm visiting there, it's like it's fun, it's cute, it's whatever. When I first got there, anyone I met at the club or I met out, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're so cool, they're in your face," and I'm like, "Hey, let's get lunch," and then left unseen. See him at the club again, it's like, "Oh my god, I haven't seen you in forever." I'm like, "You had the opportunity to see me
Yeah.
at this lunch.
Yep.
I reached out because I don't have friends, and you have your whole network."
Yeah.
But fighting your way into that space is difficult. So
I felt like there was also a lack of like vim, a lack of grit. Sydney's not a gritty place.
Say
I'll go to the
that.
club and I hear
Say
Sabrina Carpenter
that.
remixes.
Oh.
Oh, like
Oh.
I hear Charlie
You
XCX
said the
remixes, and it's like every single club. It doesn't matter what club I was going to. It was top 40. Maybe I wasn't going to the right places, or like it's harder to crack into
Like the
that different
underground,
side
like
of
the-
that scene. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like, I felt like no matter what I was doing, it was giving bubblegum. It was giving cheese. I know I'm young, but I'm grown. I don't want to be hearing that stuff at the club. Like I'm gonna be so real.
Yeah. No, I get that. I feel like I say this all the time. I feel like you can go out so many times here and then just encounter the same night over and over again. It feels like Groundhog Day, which is why I sometimes just opt to go to events because at least I know that's going to be different. But you can go to like any bar, any club, hear the same songs over and over again. You're going to hear some ABBA. Like you're going
It's
to
cr-
hear, you're going to hear
yeah.
ABBA for sure.
It's always the same. It's the same shit. It's the same shit,
Give me a
and the
Man After
people are
Midnight.
loving
Yeah.
it. That's the
Yeah.
worst part. Why not? Like I
that can't be the worst.
like-
They're
part.
enjoying it.
How dare you enjoy this?
They're enjoying it.
no, I get it. Life's hard
Yeah.
enough already. Sometimes we need a little mindless
Yeah.
escape.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But not me though.
Like,
Not me,
yeah,
though.
I know.
I need depth.
Like,
Like-
something a
Yeah.
bit more,
Yeah.
with a bit more je ne sais quoi. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Just a little something different. Something at
Mm.
least. I hear you.
So then I was like, let me get out of here. I booked a flight to Melbourne. I had like maybe like $300 at this point. I was like, I'm just gonna go to
I
Melbourne.
did the exact same thing. Yeah.
And you just have to like,
Wow.
I'll figure it out. And I was like, listen, if all goes to shit, I'm gonna go to Toronto. Don't know how.
Wow.
With what money?
Yeah.
Gonna canoe to Toronto. Ours would be a great workout, but yeah.
It would have been a really good workout. I would have been so snatched when I got there.
You would have died.
You would have been in the middle of the sea, like, what's going on in it? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, touchdown in Melbourne, and I got off the plane. I was like, the air smells so good.
Yes.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, mate.
People are smiling. They've got colour on their faces.
Yeah.
They've got life in their eyes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Landed in some hostel in St Kilda.
Oh,
And it was just full of Brits. And I felt like I was on Love Island. Like, it was
a new hottie has entered the villa.
Nah, it was like it was bad. It was like I'd never experienced. It was giving Benidorm. Do you guys know Benidorm?
Wait,
Who?
Benidorm. It's some place in Spain, and it's classic British UK destination. And I literally touched down, and there's a bar downstairs. I went down with people in my room, had a bar, and the boys are all there like, "Oi, mate, how many birds you shagged since being here?" And I was just there like, 6.
Real, you're like, let me just say a number and get out of this conversation.
You just have to go along with it because I can't be bothered for the chat. Like, I don't have it in me. But as soon as I touched that, I was kind of referred to by that club that I worked at to another place here in Melbourne. And then they were like, "Do you want to come in for like a little interview or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool." And then I got the job. Started work the same day I landed.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it was a good vibe. But I think it took a long time to enjoy Melbourne too.
I was going to ask you, like, at what point did you start enjoying Melbourne then?
I think when I first touched down, you're kind of living a bit of like a backpacker lifestyle.
Of course.
Yeah.
When you're in hostels, you're friends with all these Europeans and we were doing stuff all the time. But like, again, it's very fleeting. People are coming and going. People are coming and going. And then there was like this weird point where it was like, it kind of got to June and it was kind of like the last of people going had left.
Yeah.
And I like went to Sydney for a wedding that weekend. So I got back and it's really cold and it's winter and I know no one. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
time to start again. I was like, every day it's something new. Another, you have to start again, time and time again. I was like, fuck this shit. As soon as I found out someone was only there in the city for like 6 months, block. I don't have it in me. Like,
I can't be starting over again.
do you know what I mean? Because it's like when you've made so many fleeting connections. Not that it was deep. It was like, fuck me. Now I need to make friends again.
Yeah, you've invested in them. I was doing the same thing. Like the whole reason the group chat started was when I was a backpacker. It was like backpackers this, and like you get to love these people, and then they leave. Like you still have those connections, but I'm like, well, now I'm here by myself because I am staying. So no, I fully get that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's actually really funny that you started that day because I walked into that same venue that day. Our friend Gavin was working, and I walked to the bar, and like I saw Ali, and I'm like, "You're not from here." I straight up just walked up and said, "You're not."
Oh my God!
I just said, "You're not from
around
here."
these parts, are you, partner?
And he was like, "Oh, how do you know that?" I'm like, "Listen, like the way that Ali was standing behind the bar with the confidence of someone he was like, you're not Australian. Like I knew for a fact like, you were not Australian. Like the way you were standing, and you started talking, I'm like, yeah." British, I get it.
Oh, really?
And it was like that was the moment that I was like, oh yeah, I fuck with him hard because like there was the way that you were carrying yourself. Like there is an energy that's different versus like Australians at the bar. Like they'll be blasé, fair, they'll be chat, but you were switched on. Like you were like you were on, and like that
really?
was.
I was probably angry. That's probably why. I'd probably served my 5th vodka raspberry of that minute, and I was like, I'm sick of this drink. A little tangent: vodka raspberries. If you drink those, I don't want to talk to you.
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to talk to you.
I love this. I love this line of conversation. So vodka raspberries, like you're just like, absolutely not.
Because again, it's one of those.
What kind of person?
It's like umbrellas. As a grown man, why are you drinking a vodka raspberry? Do you know what I mean?
So it's childish.
Yeah, it's childish.
It's too much sugar. Like I love sugar, but raspberries.
Like
too much
why?
sugar.
Just what are you doing? Like what are you doing?
Okay, vodka Red Bull.
Red Bull gives you erectile dysfunction. It's
Stop! Cut the show! Cut the show! Cut the show!
Nah, like okay, hear me out. Vodka Red Bull. I have a Red Bull, maybe like once a week at most. But I see people drinking 4 vodka Red Bulls in one night, plus XYZ on top of that. I'm just like, it's so bad for you.
It's
so bad for your heart, let alone the sugar. You're not even drinking the no sugar version.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I sound fat phobic right now. I'm like, how dare you not drink that?
You're having sugar.
Do you know what I mean? So like vodka Red Bulls, every now and then, I understand, but they get sold way too much.
Yeah.
And it's always the same people drinking them.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on vodka Red Bulls?
I mean, I personally wouldn't partake. I think that when I was like first starting off drinking, like Malibu Sprite was my thing. Like but I was so young.
No, I was
So
also
young.
Malibu Sprite.
Oh,
Only
really?
because me and alcohol, we weren't friends. So like, I didn't
same.
like it. It just didn't work for me. Like the drinking it just to get drunk. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
it's
I needed
not
it
there
to
yet.
taste like something.
taste
Yeah,
so
Malibu goes down so easy as well.
It
Just like
really
it's nice.
does.
It's nice, yeah.
Totally, but like if I were to have a Malibu Sprite today, I'd be like,
bro.
I'm a big fizzers girly. I'm a seltzer girly.
Okay, yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
I'm with
probably
you,
what
I'm
I'm.
with you.
That's probably
Seltzers.
what I'm getting. So what would you get?
Okay, so like I feel like if I'm partying, I always want something that's like in a can or a bottle.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
exactly.
mean? Just
Because you
I don't
know they
wanna
can't
hold-
cheat you.
Because you know, nah, it's not even
Oh,
about that.
sorry.
Oh, you got trust issues.
I want every single
I
drop
want
of
every
alcohol.
drop of alcohol I paid for.
No, I just mean like if you got a glass, you're dancing, someone can knock into you, like a switch, but I feel like a
Very
can
safe.
or a bottle, like
Yeah,
no
yeah,
one's
yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Even if you did, like, I feel like I could swing it around like this.
Damn!
Like,
Like a
everything was-
helicopter.
Everything
Yeah.
will stay inside it. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And
yeah.
if you need to,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and if it needs to happen.
Wait, listen. Rum pum pum pum. Okay. Men down. All right, sorry. Shout out to Rihanna. But yeah, I hear you. But
Do you know what I mean? That's it. I'm really actually not that fussy. Probably a seltzer, realistically.
Yeah.
Or ginger beer.
oh,
Yeah.
I love a
Yeah.
ginger
I was about to
beer.
say, if you
I
weren't gonna
love
say
me
ginger
some
beer, like
It's just ginger
that's
beer.
your drink.
Nah, because especially when you're on drugs,
Yeah.
like, wait, can we talk about
Allegedly,
this?
allegedly.
If
Yeah.
like hypothetically
If someone had to happen to be on
drugs, the ginger takes away the nausea in it. That's what I think.
Oh, you know what ginger is?
Yeah,
Very good for
I don't know if
nausea.
it works in that form,
well,
but
I
that's
mean
what I
ginger
think.
ale when I get an
Yeah.
upset stomach, so why not have the same concept?
Correct.
In
There-
my mind,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
There's a belief in the black community that a ginger ale can cure any
Everything.
ailment
Anything and
that you
everything.
have. It's like, oh, my head hurt. You need to go have some ginger ale.
I broke my arm.
You need to go have some ginger ale. My boyfriend broke up with me. You
Ginger
need to
ale.
go have some ginger ale.
And it always works.
Oh
so
my God, and it always worked.
when it stops working, we'll investigate. But until then,
Shout out to ginger ale.
Canada Dry.
Canada.
You guys give a lot of shout outs on this show. Shout out to Rihanna. I'm sure she
Yes.
needed that.
Exactly.
and I'm sure she's gonna hear it.
And
Yeah,
she-
yeah, yeah.
She's definitely gonna hear it. You say that like
Love
you
you,
haven't listened to our
Riri.
show before.
No, I have.
Oh, have you?
Like what?
Yeah.
Like tell me something about.
I
the
don't
show.
remember what I had for breakfast. Like,
Yeah.
let's not listen to
That's
this.
right.
You didn't have breakfast.
No, I did.
Wink.
You did coffee.
Nah,
Oh, that's so real. Me
7-Eleven
too.
sandwich.
So
7-Eleven
you remember.
sandwich?
So you remember.
This brings up
Nah,
a
but
great point. This
That
brings
was
up-
lunch. That was lunch.
That was lunch. I remember when we were at the Gasso, and then I needed a little bit of a refreshment. I needed a little bit of something to help me keep going because it was the Confide Summer Series, the party at the Gasso. Very, very fun. Great crowd.
Great crowd.
Great crowd. Love the Gasso. It's a really cool
Yeah, good
venue.
venue.
It's got a retractable roof that opens and like let the sun in, and like it's amazing. But your girl needed a little something to keep her going. Walk down the street. I get myself a 7-Eleven or a Woolies egg salad
I
sandwich.
think it was a Coles one.
No, it was not. Either or. I got it from a grocery store and I brought it back to the club. And you proceeded.
Did you say what the sandwich was?
Yeah, I said it's an egg salad sandwich.
Because it was like when you're eating egg salad at the club, it's like you
I
really
was.
care about no one but yourself.
I sure do.
It's
I
like,
should've-
wow.
That's
wow.
what I needed. That's what I needed.
You're
I
not
was
thinking of the
hungry.
community. Like,
What
Nah.
is the community thinking of me? Like that party wasn't there for me. I can't center myself in this. I needed some nourishment. So I got myself a sandwich. And you know what ended up happening?
What?
The other half of that sandwich got took.
Bro,
Because
who?
people were like, ooh, egg salad sandwich. Can I have some? And I'm like, yeah. Because we need something to eat. Shout out to egg salad sandwiches.
No, I have something to say about the eggs.
What?
with Nicole, because Nicole disappeared for like 20, 30 minutes. Like,
Yes.
I don't know who, like, if you told anyone, I was like, where's Nicole? I'm like, I just check her location, and you're just walking down the street. I'm like,
Yep.
she probably got hungry.
Yep.
She comes back
Period.
with this egg salad sandwich. Like, you want some? I'm like, that looks disgusting.
But you know what? It was delicious, and I was happy to have it.
And we had a photo shoot with this egg salad.
We sure did. Put the picture on the screen. Have it pop up right now.
All right, so for your timeline, you were working at this venue. At what point did you say you kind of started to feel like Melbourne was, like, you started to feel like you actually lived here again?
Not till like late September, early October.
Late September, early October. That's really interesting. Those timelines are really funny because, like, what happened in early October?
Did I move into the house?
Oh, that's so crazy.
I moved into the house.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
No, I'll give you your flowers. It definitely was
Aw.
that. I also give my old house their flowers because they treated me amazingly, and that was the first house in a very long time that I felt like, whoa,
Yeah.
I feel like at home. So I gotta give them their flowers too.
Yeah.
I gotta give a lot of people their flowers.
Well,
you know
no,
what I
but
mean?
that's
You
real.
really
Like,
do.
I literally did not start enjoying Melbourne until I met Ri'chard. 100%. 100%. Oh, Lord.
Go on,
Never
don't
mind.
stop
No,
now.
I was going to hit the button, but y'all are going to call me homophobic again, so I won't do it. Sad trombone.
I think she meant to hit this one.
No,
I was going to say you're magical. That's what I was going to say.
Well, that's what Nicole meant to do. You wanted to the want,
Yeah.
and I'm just taking these flowers. But I think that's really important to acknowledge. Like, before I like decided that this was gonna be my place, before I reached out and like made those friends who were stationary and that are here, it just kind of felt like I was just going through the motions. Like I was going to work, I was going up, but everything felt repetitive, like you said, and it was just like if something went down, I felt like I was still doing it by myself. And if I was doing it by myself, why am I still here?
Yeah.
So like leaning into it, and because when we talked about it, you were like, maybe I will, maybe I'll go back home, maybe I'll do this, and I'm like, I can't write your story for you, but this is available, and like that's really all you can do. And yeah, I'm glad you decided to stay because you've also made the house feel like a home. Anxious Andy was terrible. I'm just gonna say it. He doesn't listen. Anxious Andy was terrible. So like he's an okay person, awful housemate. There was no connection. Like I got home and it just felt like, wow, there's another person in my house, and it didn't feel like anything. When I get home, like, Ali, guess what? This thing happened. And Kira's obsessed with him, so.
Yeah, that's so good. Shout out to Kiki.
Shout out to Kira. Yeah, but it was definitely not until, September-ish, October-ish, I was like, oh, I'm really liking this now. But it was like, there was the lull. I feel like the winter here is something that, like, you're not really ready for because
Sure not.
even in the UK, obviously the winter's a lot colder.
Yep.
But you got Halloween, on bonfire night, on Christmas, on New Year's, on Valentine's, on Easter, on all this type of stuff to like really keep you going. And then in summer, there's nothing really going on, but it's summer. Like we're outside. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here it's like, whoa, everything's happening in summer right now. Like, so this summer feels so intense.
It's so
Very.
Every week is like crazy.
Something's going on.
3 things.
And then it's like 6 months of just like,
hibernating. Genuine hibernating.
Winter,
which is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I quite like as well, but
yeah.
it's beautiful if you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
If you've also got roots, if you know that in those times that you are hibernating, you can just go to your friends for dinners, all this stuff. But like when you don't really know anyone in the city or like you got loose connection stuff, it's like, the winter, you're just kind of
You're sitting there
on
cold.
your ones, isn't it?
Listen,
Sitting there cold,
like,
twiddling your thumbs.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to go outside again. Do you know
For
what I
real.
mean? Like,
Winter being in the middle of the year is definitely tough, and it feels like the cold here lasts for a lot longer. I mean, what was it yesterday?
Yeah, that cold front fucked us
Yesterday, it was a little bit cold, and we're in the middle of summer right now. But
Yeah.
it's a part of it, but it's something that you just have to accept. It's just the rule of Melbourne is that it can be cold at any time, and it's just better to accept that rather than try and fight it.
100.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was getting through that winter and being in this house. I felt like my housemates were people I'd lived with before I'd liked, and there was love there, but I didn't feel like connected to. Do you know what I mean? And it was like being in the house I was before I moved into this one, it was like with that group of people. I felt like I'd never had like a queer group around me. I've had a group of queer friends where it's like, this is my one queer friend, Artie, and then this is my one queer friend, Jonah, or like this.
Okay, so like
But
an
then-
actual group.
Yeah,
But then
like
like a group who know each other, and there's like dynamics in between that group, and like you sit and you chill and you do this stuff, and you go to queer events and non-queer events and all this type of stuff, but you're just doing it as like,
Yeah,
you know what I
you're
mean?
doing it as a crew. That chosen family.
I feel like you don't realize how important it is until you have it.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that like I even talk to my straight friends now, who I've been friends with for life and are very close to. But there's some lived experiences that you just can't explain. It's
Yeah.
like how you can't really explain like a microaggression to a white person.
Yes.
Like you can explain it
Yeah.
on paper,
Yeah.
but like you're not really gonna know what it's like.
What
Yeah,
it's
until
like.
Do you know
you've
what I
been
mean?
It feels
Yeah.
like they can just never understand. You can describe it, but they won't understand.
You won't really like feel it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of
Yeah.
the same with those experiences, like whether you're talking about relationships or sex or just the way you're navigating the world, just like as an identity. It's like, oh, you guys get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to explain to you why the term gay best friend makes you feel some sort of way. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't have to explain to I don't have to explain to people like hookup culture or XYZ. It's
Yeah.
like there's an understanding. So it's like I
Yeah.
felt like I could really, even in my experiences when talking about shit, it's like I could really get into those experiences without having this whole
Yeah, explanation. or-
prelude be like, oh yeah, so then I did this. No, it's not weird. Trust me, because this.
It's like, why am I being followed around the store? They're like, oh, they're just probably wanting to help you. And it's like, okay, well.
It's like, I didn't ask for help.
I
Like,
didn't
no.
ask for help.
They think I'm
Yeah.
stealing. So like let's
Yeah.
call a spade a spade. And that's one of the
Yeah.
things I also enjoy. The amount of times we just talk about white people being white people,
Yeah.
especially in Australia, because again, it's okay to be white if you're doing it right. But like the amount of times white people will be well-meaning, and if you tell a white person about another white person, it's like, oh, they probably didn't mean that. They're ready to explain it, and otherwise, like when it's just us, I'm like, no. Fuck that. Intention versus impact is always going to be the issue. And knowing that someone's always in your corner, not like trying to play devil's advocate, is just
Oh my God.
the
that's
amount of
the
energy that is
worst.
saved.
That's the worst. The thing that always has me messed up is people will get more offended being called racist than actual racism. Like they can see racism like fully, blatantly, like it can't be anything other than this. And then they'll make excuses around it. But if you call somebody a racist, they get more offended at that than they do actual racism. And that's the part that I'm always just like, check that.
Yeah.
Like, check it. Like, that doesn't make any kind of sense because you're getting more uncomfortable with you being called something when it's just like, nah, look at the behavior. Be upset by the behavior. Be upset by the thing that's actually happening rather than your discomfort. If that's the first thing you're thinking of, it's like, ugh. Grow up. Grow up. Take accountability. Look,
Absolutely.
observe. Like, seriously, open your eyes.
Also, we all have unconscious biases, and especially
Totally.
if you
Yes.
were grown in different environments or whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's okay to just be like, oh, maybe that is a bit whack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's self-reflection
And if
is
someone calls you out on
everything.
it, be like, I'm going to sit on that one for a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
And it starts with listening.
Understand it. Like, not every day is it an attack on character. And I feel like a lot of people just generally, whether it's in race or not, with criticism, people really take that as an account on character,
Yeah.
attack on character.
Yeah.
And it's just like, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like sometimes people are raising it because they want to keep you around. They're not trying to push you away. They're like, hey, this thing made me uncomfortable, or this thing is kind of out of a line with these things. And whether you accept it or not and how you move through that says a lot about you, a personal character.
And
if
no
you're-
one's calling you out just to have an argument with you. 99% of the time, okay? For me, I'm like, if someone's going to be ignorant, I'm going to let you be ignorant. I don't give a fuck. I'm not
Yeah.
wasting my energy
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
trying to teach someone who just
Pick
doesn't
and
want to understand
choose.
something. Do you know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
You gotta, as a person of color, you gotta pick and choose your moments because otherwise you're fighting all day long.
Like,
And who has the energy for that?
nah, like long
Yeah.
day. But it's just kind of like,
when you care
Yeah.
about them, and it's like, I care about you, but this was going to cause a rift between us. I'd rather address it and be like, hey, didn't love that. Or that's not a great thing to be saying about XYZ. And whether they take it well, like, cool, let me just take a step back. Or I can lean into it because you
Yep.
took that with, again,
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable. Like, I've been called out on things. I'm like, you know what? You got me. Like, there's so
Yeah.
many internalized racist, internalized homophobic things that I still battle to this day. Like,
Mm.
every single day is a new battle, but someone be like, hey, maybe we don't say that thing. It's like, you know what? That's fair. And like you learn new things every day, and we're growing with the culture as we should be. Otherwise, you're stagnant and being left behind.
Yes.
And then suddenly you're a boomer, and nobody wants to do that. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to be a boomer.
I think that's also why I end up probably finding more community with queer people, even though I'm not necessarily queer myself, is that I feel like queer people are growing with society. I also feel like women can grow with, like growing and evolving. Whereas like there's certain people of society that they're just like, no, why would I change anything? Why would I go against the status quo? This is working for me. So it's just like and I feel queer people do chosen family really, really well because a lot of the time they are forced into that and they have no other choice. So the anchors that they make in their friendships are just so much deeper because they're like, this is the family that I need to make work because I can't work things out with my blood family. And I dig that so much. Yeah, it's important.
100.
1,000%. Is there anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, how do you feel about Sabrina Carpenter?
Nah, because I could. Nah, do you know what? Let's be real. Okay. No. Let's talk about it. Okay.
This evil cackle is.
Nah. I don't mind her. Just hear me out. What it is, the pop girls right now.
Yes.
I'm not even a pop girl fan. I'm
But they're
not
doing it.
fast. But they're doing it. Chapel Roan. They're all in their own bags. Chapel Roan, Charlie XCX, Sabrina Carpenter. Yep. And I like how white girls are being white girls now.
White girls are being white girls. We
no
love that.
Iggy Azalea business. No,
no brown Ariana.
No, yeah, like I like it, and they're doing it well.
Yeah.
All right. But I feel like everything's shoved down my throat nowadays.
Yeah.
Whether that's Charlie XCX, the Brat album was amazing, and if I just came across it and heard it, I'd be like, "This is cool. I like this."
Yeah.
But the fact that I leave my house, why is it playing in the supermarket? I don't get to hear Brat at the supermarket. I'm
talking about bumping that, getting some grapes.
You know what I mean? And it's like every DJ ever is now playing Brat remixes at the wrong times. Why is there a Brat remix at the techno club? Do you know what I mean? No one wants to hear a Brat. No, people do actually. That's a lie. That's a lie.
I know. I get what you mean because I felt the same way about Chapel. Like I think she's like really cool, and I love that people are really into her, and I think that's so awesome. But it's just like sometimes when things are shoved down your throat at every turn, you kind of build up an aversion to it a little bit.
I resisted Chapel for the longest time until my last America trip. I was stuck in the airport. I'm like, you know what? Let me just listen. And I was like, God damn it, they got me.
Yeah,
they got
but
me.
like I get it. If you've made a beautiful piece of art and there's people willing to invest in you and market it, it's like 100%. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll be doing the same shit. I'll be putting it in everyone's faces. Don't piss me off. But like, but it's just the fact there's like so many like. Doechii.
I know.
And Doechii also doesn't sound like it's there. Like I know it's on the main page on YouTube. Like it comes up on my, but it's not like shoved down in my face.
It's not.
And I hear Doechii remixes at the club, but like there's not like 10 Doechii remixes playing back to back in a 2-hour set.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and she's doing it 1,000 million bazillion times better than any of these other girls.
Sure enough.
Any of these other girls.
Very unique artistry, very cool videos. You can tell that she's thinking for herself, whereas sometimes the other girls, not necessarily all of them, because I do believe that Chapel's artistry is like very unique to her. I totally agree with that. Some of the girls, they don't even have to have artistry. They don't have to have it. They just get to show up, be cute, and just like stand and bop and sing. But I feel like Doechii is really good with her concepts. I think Alligator Bites Never Heal. I think that was a great album. But still, I don't think I've heard one of her songs out. Maybe the only time I have is when I went to a Mother Funk party a couple weeks ago. And I think that was like the only time I've ever heard a Doechii song getting played out. And I think that's probably why I was so resistant also to Chapel a little bit, because it's kind of hard seeing somebody get accepted so quickly when you've seen other black artists or other artists of color who have just been waiting in the wings and they're so good and nobody wants to get around them.
But I also think it's like, even like with Doechii, like the level of artistry in visuals and lyricism and the beats and just the experimentation, like fucking like even just boom bap as a song. She so just cool. She's it sounds so like she just sat there having fun. Obviously there's more into it, but like if I made that song, I would have never been like, this is good. Like the fact that she could make it and then realize how good it is and release it with no fucks and be like, this is my music, this is my style. And the fact that everyone loves it as well is like there's so much uniqueness on that, but it's just like so telling on like how great, like the level that Doechii's at right now. Yeah. It's kind of sad that she has to be this good to be noticed.
That is the black. That's the,
do you know what I mean?
Like you have to be twice as good to get half as much.
Yeah. Like
that's just the rule of being black. And
so much
and
better.
It's so tough. I mean, like you know, like, of course, I couldn't go a whole episode without mentioning Beyonce, but Beyonce is so massive, but you wouldn't even know that here because she doesn't get any play. It's just, so I think that's why I'm always, like, a little bit resistant, even though I may like some of the art, but I definitely feel, like, a little bit of resentment. A little bit, if I'm going to be honest. But that doesn't mean I don't want the girls to get
their flowers as well.
Yes, it's not that, but sometimes it's so hard, because they've already had Chapel Roan tribute nights. They've had icon nights for her, and I'm like, I get it, but I'm like, damn, she just came out.
Yeah. Well, I will actually challenge you on that one. Chapel has been out for 10 years, but she just now exploded. Like there was a
Wait, how old is she?
She's like
Yeah,
20.
she's
Yeah,
grown.
she's like Chapel is like 28.
She is grown.
Chapel, it's like she was going by another name. Like Troye Sivan like
Oh,
tweeted about
okay.
her in 2014. Like there's this new girl coming up, blah blah blah. Like she blew up with that recent album.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like that was a meteoric rise. Like it was out of nowhere. They found that album. It's like, yep, running it through. But your point is still absolutely valid. So many people that are grinding their ass off, and whether
Yeah.
they make it across the ocean or not, or make it to the same size as their white counterparts, that is
Yeah.
absolutely a problem.
I also feel like there are people complaining that there's too many light-skinned R&B artists who sound the same. Or like light-skinned R&B girlies who sound the same, especially in London. I've heard this a lot with like
Yeah.
Georgia Smith and Mahalia and all this type of stuff. It's like, what do you mean you can only have one light-skinned girl R&B
Yes,
artist, but you
yeah,
can have
that's-
hundreds
A
and
big deal,
hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah.
white pop girlies? Do you know, pop boys as well? You can have
Yeah.
so many of those, but we can
How,
only
what
have
are
like
the boys even doing in music right now? Like Troye Sivan
Yeah,
aside,
they're taking a nap.
Omar,
Yeah.
Omar Apollo aside,
Yeah.
and then
If they're like
But
the
it's
the
like-
straight boys, because those two are queer. Like, what are the straight
Yeah.
boys doing? Quickly.
yeah, I'm like, I'm
Queer
saying, I'm like, like,
Honestly, though,
I'm having a tough time even thinking of one
no, there definitely is one, surely.
take your time.
because like Justin Bieber is not.
No, he
He's,
gave up.
he's being a dad.
Nah.
I think he's coming back to music apparently.
Justin Timberlake flopped with his album with the world
Oh,
tour
I didn't even
with
know.
the DUI thing.
Oh, I didn't even know he had another album come out.
Pop boys.
See,
Yeah, I didn't even know. Who's that tall one? Who's that tall one? What's his name? Oh, but you were crazy.
Oh, Shawn Mendes.
Shawn Mendes. What is he doing?
well,
He's
Shawn,
gay.
Shawn Mendes is queer. No, Shawn has come out as queer. Like
When?
like a couple months ago, there was a video where he's like talking about how like, oh yeah, everyone wants to speculate about my sexuality. Like I like boys and girls. Like Shawn Mendes has come out as bisexual
Oh, okay.
already.
So
So
take
it
him out of the
doesn't count either.
streets.
Take
Yeah.
him out.
Take him out of the streets.
They can take him back though anyway. Like, I'm kind of disappointed in that one. No,
I mean, his music lately has not been.
you should
what
have
it
stayed in the
was.
closet.
No! Ali, that is not. That is not. We do not condone.
Everyone's opinions reflect themselves individually.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, before we
yeah.
run out of time,
Uh-huh.
I do want to ask what you think about dating here versus back home.
Oh boy.
I don't.
That's all right. Take your time.
No, I'm trying to think.
Now you're trying
That's
to collect your
okay.
bag and go. Like, that's
all
my
right.
time.
It's very.
Oh, the sip. The sip. Oh no.
Not the
Nah,
mouth noises.
It's a very big learning curve that you kind of don't expect.
Okay.
I think there's a lot more casual dating going on here,
Yeah.
which is cool. And I'm actually like really in that bag right now. But it's like everyone's too chill. It's hot to give a fuck about someone.
It is.
I don't know. I'm sure it's the same in America, but in the UK, it's like if you find yourself a baddie,
Yeah.
Pursue them.
you pursue that baddie. You also make sure that baddie doesn't think you got interest in everyone else. You're like, whoa. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, if I made a painting back in the UK, I look at him like he's the first man I've ever laid eyes on.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know what a man is. Do you know what I mean? Like this is crazy. You're the first
I've never
one.
seen another man.
Never seen a
yeah.
man.
Like there's that sort of like, wow, I want that one, or like, wow. Here, there's like nothing of the sort. It's kind of just like, yeah, I can't even do an Australian accent. I love people. I like the dating. It's going chill. I see where it goes. Ha 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 ha. Even though they've got like a baddie, like the baddest of them all.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you should be ready to lock that shit down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? I feel like I want to say it's almost like ick culture. Like people are almost afraid to
be seen caring.
be seen caring, and everything's an ick now. Everything's an ick.
I feel
like
the same in the
people-
UK though, no?
Like, I mean, I wouldn't know.
But like, oh,
I've never been there, governor.
I feel like even in the UK, it's
Mary
like,
Poppins, as I live and breathe.
I feel like everyone in the UK has got crazy icks, but caring is
Yeah.
not one of the icks. It's like leaving the house with an umbrella is an ick. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like not like caring too much.
Yeah, no, I feel like I've seen girls on the internet get icks over like, oh my God, he got cold when we were on a date and he needed to go get a jacket or something like that. Like people have like icks over like the smallest things. And I get that some people can do something that turns you off. I can get that. However, I think there needs to be like a little bit of discernment
Yeah.
when it comes to it. It's like, okay, is this something that's like actually bad, or is it something that's like, you know, so be it. It's like a fleeting moment. But people will like crash the car over something like that. But I hear you. People will just be like, oh, we'll see how it goes.
It's just like casual dating. If you like
Middle of the
casual
road.
dating, you'd love it here. But I feel like casual dating in the UK, for example, it's not a nice game to be playing because you're going to get fucked over.
Yeah.
You're going to be casually dating some man and find out he's got a husband of 5 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I said this to someone once. I was like, if you're the main thing to a British guy, your life is going to be sweet. But if you're the side thing, it's not good.
Oh,
But here
no.
it's like, you could be the side thing and still be having the time of your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're going to treat you well-ish.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Well, like, it'll be nonchalant. Like we said
It'll be-
this before. It's just like you could be talking, you could be whatever you would call it, dating for X amount of time, but there's not gonna be a label on it. They want to have their cake and eat it too a lot of the times, and it's just like
we
I
get we get a lot of options nowadays with the internet and dating apps.
We get too many options.
Yep.
Too many options, and people don't want to commit to one thing because they're like, I could
Get the next best
finally
thing.
swipe on the next best thing, but even still, they're going to swipe on that next best thing and still have that same kind
it's
of.
like, but what if there's another one?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a weird dating scene here. And I also feel like generally the depth of relationships is lower. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Like romantic or platonic as well.
Both. I feel like more of the conversations I'm having are superficial. Or even if they're not superficial, it's like I sometimes still feel like I just don't even really know you.
You got to be vulnerable.
But I feel like that culture, I was like, maybe in the UK people are more closed off. But as soon as you do break in, like
It's a floodgate.
it's yeah, you get everything. But here it's like there's so much, people are more open, but then you've kind of been on the surface line for months and you're like, oh, is this just it? Or is there more that I
Yeah.
just don't know? And I also question if like I got in a relationship here, I'm like, I just feel like there's a more superficial nature to those. I just feel like the baseline.
Yeah, that vulnerability is harder to crack. And it definitely is. And I've found myself in that position where it's like, we've been together, we've known each other for a while, but what are your fears? Like,
Yeah.
how, what do you, what, tell me your traumas. Like, not that you
Yeah.
want to approach it like that, but sometimes you have to be upfront, like, because it's not a conversation that just comes up casually. A lot of times it's, what have you done? Your activities, not how you feel. And like, that's something that I've noticed like in a lot of relationships where like, not me and mine, we're good. Like,
Yeah.
we'll be crying in the club. Like, what
Yeah.
do you mean?
Really.
Like,
I found it is like they're all really, really nonchalant. And then you meet one who's like, doesn't want to be nonchalant anymore, but then they're like crazy. They're like asking, like, I remember when I went on a first date with some guy and he was like, what's your biggest insecurity? And I was like, I've met you 10 minutes ago. Also, you can't just like lubeless, like bareback, go into that
You
conversation.
gotta get that shit wet first.
Do you know what I mean? You gotta really like
Yeah.
ease me in. So first of all, I feel comfortable to talk about that.
Yeah.
And also like
exactly.
it comes out naturally. You can't just be like, what's your
Yeah.
biggest childhood trauma?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
Yeah, it's very
there's no
weird.
transition. It was like you either all or nothing. and
Yeah.
finding a middle ground would be good. Like we'll definitely have more time to like unpack this at a later date because we don't have all the time. Like we could talk about all these things forever and ever.
We can
But,
certified yappers.
Genuinely, we should start a podcast or something.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much for popping, Ollie. This is going to be a fantastic, which is obviously going to be a recurring thing because you live here. I was like, I'm going to the studio. Just grab you out of our- and then we're just going to go.
Fantastic.
But until next time, I'm Ri'chard.
And I'm Nicole.
And this has been Melanated in Melbourne.
See ya.
This has been Melanated in Melbourne, a podcast that analyzes the Australian lifestyle from the lens of two Black American besties. Visit us at melanatedinmelbourne.com or follow us on Instagram to send us your comments or questions. Thank you for listening.